In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, the Noble Qur'an, Part 29, starting with Surah 67, Surah Al-Mulk, Surah titled The Dominion. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Blessed is he in whose hand is dominion, and he is over all things competent. He who created death and life to test you as to which of you is best indeed, and he is the exalted in might, the forgiving, and who created 7 heavens in layers. You do not see in the creation of the most merciful any inconsistency. So return your vision to the sky. Do you see any breaks? Then return your vision twice again. Your vision will return to you humbled while it is fatigued. And we have certainly beautified the nearest heaven with lamps, and have made from them what is thrown at the devils, and have prepared for them the punishment of the blaze. And for those who disbelieved in their master is the punishment of hell, and wretched is the destination. When they are thrown into it, they hear from it a dreadful inhaling while it boils up. It almost bursts with rage. Every time a company is thrown into it, its keepers ask them, "Did there not come to you a warner?" They will say, "Yes, a warner had come to us, but we denied and said, Allah has not sent down anything. You are not but in great error." And they will say, "If only we had been listening or reasoning, we would not be amongst the companions of the blaze." And they will admit their sin. So it is alienation for those companions of the blaze. Surely those who fear their master unseen will have forgiveness and great reward. And conceal your speech or publicize it. Surely he is knowing of that within the breasts. Does he who created not know, while he is the subtle, the acquainted? It is he who made the earth tame for you, so walk among its slopes and eat of his provision, and to him is the resurrection. Do you feel secure that he who holds authority in the heaven would not cause the earth to swallow you and suddenly it would sway? Or do you feel secure that he who holds authority in the heaven would not send against you a storm of stones? Then you would know how severe was my warning. And already had those before them denied, and how terrible was my reproach. Do they not see the birds above them with wings outspread and sometimes folded in? None holds them aloft except the most merciful. Surely he is of all things seeing. Or who is it that could be an army for you to aid you other than the most merciful? The disbelievers are not but in delusion. Or who is it that could provide for you if he withheld his provision, but they have persisted in insolence and aversion? Then is one who walks fallen on his face better guided, or one who walks erect on a straight path? Say, it is he who has produced you and made for you hearing and vision and hearts. Little are you grateful. Say, it is he who has multiplied you throughout the earth, and to him you will be gathered. And they say, when is this promise if you should be truthful? Say, the knowledge is only with Allah, and I am only a clear warner. But when they see it approaching, the faces of those who disbelieve will be distressed, and it will be said, this is that for which you used to call. Say, have you considered whether Allah should cause my death and those with me, or have mercy upon us? Who can protect the disbelievers from a painful punishment? Say, He is the most merciful. We have believed in Him, and upon Him we have relied, and you will come to know who it is that is in clear error. Say, have you considered, if your water was to become sunken into the earth, then who could bring you flowing water? Surah 68, Surah Al-Qalam, Surah titled The Pen. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Noon, by the pen and what they inscribe. You are not, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, by the favor of your master, a madman. And surely for you is a reward uninterrupted, and surely you are of a great moral character. So you will see and they will see which of you is the afflicted. Surely your master is most knowing of who has gone astray from his way, and he is most knowing of the rightly guided. Then do not obey the deniers. They wish that you would soften in your position, so they would soften towards you. And do not obey every worthless habitual swearer, scorner going about with malicious gossip, a preventer of good, transgressing and sinful, cruel moreover, and an illegitimate pretender, because he is a possessor of wealth and children. When our verses are recited to him, he says legends of the former peoples. We will brand him upon his snout. Surely we have tried them as we tried the companions of the garden, when they swore to cut its fruit in the early morning, without making exception. So there came upon it, that is upon the garden, an affliction from your master while they were asleep, and it became as though reap, and they called one another at morning, saying, go early to your crop if you would cut the fruit. So they set out, while lowering their voices, saying, there will surely not enter it today upon you any poor person. And they went early in determination, assuming themselves able. But when they saw it, they said, surely we are lost. Rather, we have been deprived. The most moderate of them said, Did I not say to you, why do you not exalt Allah? They said, Surely exalted is our Master. Surely we were wrongdoers. Then they approached one another, blaming each other. They said, Oh, woe to us! Surely we were transgressors. Perhaps our Master will substitute for us one better than it. Surely we are toward our Master desirous. Such is the punishment of this world, and the punishment of the hereafter is greater. If they only knew. Surely for the righteous with their Master are the gardens of pleasure. Then will we treat the Muslims like the criminals? What is the matter with you? How do you judge? Or do you have a scripture in which you learn that surely for you is whatever you choose? Or do you have oaths binding upon us, extending until the day of resurrection, that surely for you is whatever you judge? Ask them which of them for that claim is responsible. Or do they have partners? Then let them bring their partners if they should be truthful. The day the shin will be uncovered, and they are invited to prostration, but they, that is the disbelievers, will not be able. Their eyes humbled, humiliation will cover them, and they used to be invited to prostration while they were sound. So leave me, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, with the matter of whoever denies this statement, that is, denies this Qur'an. We will progressively lead them to punishment from where they do not know, and I will give them time. Surely my plan is firm. Or do you ask of them a payment, so they are by debt burdened down? Or have they knowledge of the unseen, so they write it down? Then be patient for the decision of your Master, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and be not like the companion of the fish, that is Jonah, when he called out while he was distressed. If not that a favor from his Master overtook him, he would have been thrown onto the naked shore while he was censured, and his Master chose him and made him of the righteous. And surely those who disbelieve would almost make you slip with their eyes when they hear the message, and they said, Surely he is mad, but it is not except a reminder to the worlds. Surah 69, Surah Al-Haqqah, Surah titled The Inevitable Reality. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. The inevitable reality. What is the inevitable reality? And what can make you know what is the inevitable reality? Thamud and Ad denied the striking calamity. So as for Thamud, they were destroyed by the overpowering blast. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a screaming, violent wind, which Allah imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession. So you would see the people therein fallen as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Then do you see of them any remains? And there came Pharaoh and those before him, and they overturned cities with sin, and they disobeyed the messenger of their master. So he seized them with a seizure exceeding in severity. Surely, when the water overflowed, we carried you in the sailing ship, that we might make it for you a reminder, and that a conscious ear would be conscious of it. Then when the horn is blown with one blast, and the earth and the mountains are lifted and leveled with one blow, then on that day the occurrence will occur, and the heaven will split open, but that day it is infirm, and the angels are at its edges, and there will bear the throne of your Master above them, that day 8 of them. That day you will be exhibited for judgment. Not hidden among you is anything concealed. So as for he who is given his record in his right hand, he will say, Here, read my record. Surely I was certain that I would be meeting my account. So he will be in a pleasant life, an elevated garden, its fruit to be picked hanging near. They will be told, Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you put forth in the days past. But as for he who is given his record in his left hand, he will say, Oh, I wish I had not been given my record, and had not known what is my account. I wish it had been the decisive one. My wealth has not availed me. Gone from me is my authority. Allah will say, Seize him and shackle him, then into hellfire drive him, then into a chain whose length is 70 cubits insert him. Surely he did not use to believe in Allah the Most Great, nor did he encourage the feeding of the poor. So there is not for him here this day any devoted friend, nor any food except from the discharge of wounds. None will eat it except the sinners. So I swear by what you see, and what you do not see, that surely it, that is this Qur'an, is the word of a noble messenger, and it is not the word of a poet. Little do you believe, nor the word of a soothsayer. Little do you remember. It is a revelation from the Master of the worlds. And if he, that is if Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had made up about us some false sayings, we would have seized him by the right hand. Then we would have cut from him the aorta, and there is no one of you who could prevent us from him. And surely it, that is this Qur'an, is a reminder for the righteous. And surely we know that amongst you are deniers, and surely it will be a cause of regret upon the disbelievers, and surely it is the truth of certainty. So exalt the name of your Master, the Most High. Surah 70, Surah Al-Ma'arij, Surah titled The Ways of Ascent. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. A supplicant asks for a punishment bound to happen. To the disbelievers, of it there is no preventer. It is from Allah, owner of the ways of ascent. The angels and the spirit, that is Gabriel, will ascend to him during a day the extent of which is 50,000 years. So be patient with gracious patience. Surely they see it as distant, but we see it as near. On the day the sky will be like murky oil, and the mountains will be like wool, and no friend will ask anything of a friend. They will be shown each other. The criminal will wish that he could be ransomed from the punishment of that day by his children, and his wife, and his brother, and his nearest kindred who shelter him, and whoever is on earth entirely, so then it could save him. No, surely it is the flame of hell, a remover of exteriors. It invites he who turned his back on truth and went away from obedience, and collected wealth and hoarded. Surely mankind was created anxious. When evil touches him, impatient, and when good touches him, withholding of it. Except the observers of prayer, those who are constant in their prayer, and those within whose wealth is a known right, for the petitioner and the deprived, and those who believe in the day of recompense, and those who are fearful of the punishment of their master. Surely the punishment of their master is not that from which one is safe, and those who guard their private parts, except from their wives or those their right hands possess, for surely they are not to be blamed. But whoever seeks beyond that, then they are the transgressors, and those who are to their trusts and promises attentive, and those who are in their testimonies upright, and those who carefully maintain their prayer. They will be in gardens, honored. So what is the matter with those who disbelieve, hastening from before you, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to sit on your right and your left in separate groups? Does every person amongst them aspire to enter a garden of pleasure? No, surely we have created them from that which they know. So I swear by the Master of all risings and settings, that surely we are able to replace them with better than them, and we are not to be outdone. So leave them to converse vainly and amuse themselves until they meet their day which they are promised. The day they will emerge from the graves rapidly, as if they were towards an erected idol hastening. Their eyes humbled, humiliation will cover them. That is the day which they had been promised. Surah 71, Surah Nuh, Surah titled The Prophet Noah. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Surely we sent Noah to his people, saying, warn your people before there comes to them a painful punishment. He said, O my people, surely I am to you a clear warner, saying, worship Allah, fear Him and obey me. He will forgive you of your sins and delay you from a specific time. Surely the time set by Allah when it comes will not be delayed, if you only knew. He said, my Master, surely I invited my people to truth night and day, but my invitation increased them not except in flight. And surely every time I invited them that you may forgive them, they put their fingers in their ears, covered themselves with their garments, persisted and were arrogant with great arrogance. Then I invited them publicly. Then I announced to them and also confided to them secretly, and said, ask forgiveness of your Master, surely He is ever a perpetual forgiver. He will send rain from the sky upon you in continuing showers, and give you increase in wealth and children, and provide for you gardens, and provide for you rivers. What is the matter with you that you do not attribute to Allah due grandeur, while He has created you in stages? Do you not consider how Allah has created 7 heavens in layers, and made the moon therein a reflected light, and made the sun a burning lamp? And Allah has caused you to grow from the earth a progressive growth? Then He will return you into it and extract you another extraction. And Allah has made for you the earth an expanse, that you may follow therein roads of passage. Noah said, my Master, surely they have disobeyed me and followed him whose wealth and children will not increase him except in loss. And they conspired an immense conspiracy, and said, never leave your gods, and never leave Wad, or Suwa, or Yaghuth, or Ya'uq, and Nasr. And already they have misled many. And do not increase the wrongdoers except in error. Because of their sins they were drowned and put into the fire, and they found not from themselves, besides Allah, any helpers. And Noah said, My master, do not leave upon the earth from amongst the disbelievers an inhabitant. Surely if you leave them, they will mislead your servants and not beget except every wicked one and confirmed disbeliever. My master, forgive me and my parents, and whoever enters my house a believer, and the believing men and believing women, and do not increase the wrongdoers except in destruction. Surah 72, Surah Al-Jinn. Surah titled The Jinn, a species of beings created by Allah from fire. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Say, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, it has been revealed to me that a group of the Jinn listened and said, Surely we have heard an amazing Qur'an. It guides to the right course, and we have believed in it, and we will never associate with our master anyone. And it teaches that exalted is the nobleness of our master. He has not taken a wife or a son, and that our foolish one, that is Iblis, has been saying about Allah an excessive transgression. And we had thought that mankind and the Jinn would never speak about Allah a lie. And there were men from mankind who sought refuge in men from the Jinn, so they only increased them in burden. And they had thought, as you thought, that Allah would never send anyone as a messenger. And we have sought to reach the heaven, but found it filled with powerful guards and burning flames. And we used to sit therein in positions for hearing, but whoever listens now will find a burning flame lying in wait for him. And we do not know, therefore, whether evil is intended for those on earth, or whether their master intends for them a right course. And amongst us are the righteous, and amongst us are others not so. We were of divided ways, and we have become certain that we will never cause failure to Allah upon earth, nor can we escape Him by flight. And when we heard the guidance, that is this Qur'an, we believed in it, and whoever believes in his master will not fear deprivation or burden. And amongst us are Muslims, and amongst us are the unjust, and whoever has become Muslim, those have sought out the right course. But as for the unjust, they will be for hell firewood. And Allah revealed that if they had remained straight on the way, we would have given them abundant rain, so we might test them therein. And whoever turns away from the remembrance of his master, he will put into arduous punishment. And He revealed that the masajid, that is the mosques, are for Allah, so do not invoke with Allah anyone. And that when the servant, that is the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, of Allah stood up supplicating him, they almost became about him a compacted mass. Say, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, I invoke only my master and do not associate with him anyone. Say, surely I do not possess for you the power of harm or right direction. Say, surely there will never protect me from Allah anyone if I should disobey, nor will I find in other than Him a refuge. But I have for you only notification from Allah and His messages, and whoever disobeys Allah and His messenger, then surely for him is the fire of hell. They will abide therein forever. The disbelievers continue until, when they see that which they are promised, then they will know who is weaker in helpers and less in number. Say, I do not know if what you are promised is near, or if my master will grant for it a long period. He is knower of the unseen, and He does not disclose His knowledge of the unseen to anyone, except whom He has approved of messengers, and surely He sends before them and behind them observers, that He, that is Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, may know that they have conveyed the messages of their master. And He has encompassed whatever is with them, and has enumerated all things in number. Surah 73, Surah Al-Muzzammil, Surah titled The One Who Wraps Himself with a Garment. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. O you who wraps himself in clothing, arise to pray the night except for a little, half of it or subtract from it a little, or add to it, and recite the Qur'an with measured recitation. Surely we will cast upon you a heavy word. Surely the hours of the night are more effective for concurrence of heart and tongue, and more suitable for words. Surely for you by day is prolonged occupation. And remember the name of your master, and devote yourself to him with complete devotion. He is the master of the east and the west, there is no deity except him. So take him as disposer of your affairs, and be patient over what they say, and avoid them with gracious avoidance. And leave me with the matter of the deniers, those of ease in life, and allow them respite a little. Surely with us for them are shackles and burning fire, and food that chokes, and a painful punishment. On the day the earth and the mountains will convulse, and the mountains will become a heap of sand pouring down. Surely we have sent to you a messenger as a witness upon you, just as we sent to Pharaoh a messenger. But Pharaoh disobeyed the messenger, so we seized him with a ruinous seizure. Then how can you fear if you disbelieve? a day that will make the children white-haired. The heaven will break apart therefrom, ever is his promise fulfilled. Surely this is a reminder, so whoever wills may take to his master a way. Surely your master knows that you stand in prayer almost 2/3 of the night, or half of it, or 1/3 of it, and so do a group of those with you, and Allah determines the extent of the night and the day. He has known that you will not be able to do it and has turned to you in forgiveness. So recite what is easy for you of the Qur'an. He has known that there will be amongst you those who are ill and others traveling throughout the land seeking something of the bounty of Allah, and others fighting for the cause of Allah. So recite what is easy from it and establish prayer and give zakah and loan Allah a goodly loan. And whatever good you put forward for yourselves, you will find it with Allah. It is better and greater in reward, and seek forgiveness of Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. Surah 74, Surah Al-Muddaththir, Surah titled, The One Who Covers Himself with a Garment. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. O you who covers himself with a garment, arise and warn, and your master glorify, and your clothing purify, and uncleanliness avoid, and do not confer favor to acquire more, but for your master be patient. And when the trumpet is blown, that day will be a difficult day. For the disbelievers, not easy. Leave me with the one I created alone, and to whom I granted extensive wealth and children present with him, and spread everything before him, easing his life. Then he desires that I should add more? No, surely he has been toward our verses obstinate. I will cover him with an arduous torment. Surely he thought and deliberated. So may he be destroyed for how he deliberated. Then may he be destroyed for how he deliberated. Then he considered again, then he frowned and scowled. Then he turned back and was arrogant and said, This is not but magic imitated. This is not but the word of a human being. I will drive him into Saqar, and what can make you know what is Saqar? It lets nothing remain and leaves nothing unburned, altering, blackening the skins. Over it are 19 angels, and we have not made the keepers of the fire except angels, and we have not made their number except as a trial for those who disbelieve, that those who were given the scripture will be convinced, and those who have believed will increase in faith, and those who were given the scripture and the believers will not doubt, and that those in whose heart is disease and the disbelievers will say, What does Allah intend by this as an example? Thus does Allah leave astray whom He wills and guides whom He wills. And none knows the soldiers of your master except Him. And it, that is the mention of the fire, is not but a reminder to humanity. No, by the moon, and by the night when it departs, and by the morning when it brightens, surely it, that is the fire, is of the greatest afflictions, as a warning to humanity, to whoever wills amongst you to proceed or stay behind. Every soul, for what it has earned, will be retained, except the companions of the right, who will be in gardens, questioning each another about the criminals, and asking them, What put you into Saqar? They will say, We were not of those who prayed, nor did we use to feed the poor, and we used to engage into vain discourse with those who engaged in it, and we used to deny the day of recompense, until there came to us the certainty. So there will not benefit them the intercession of any intercessors. Then what is the matter with them that they are, from the reminder, turning away, as if they were alarmed donkeys fleeing from a lion? Rather, every person amongst them desires that he would be given scripture spread about? No, but they do not fear the hereafter. No, surely it, that is this Qur'an, is a reminder. Then whoever wills will remember it, and they will not remember except that Allah wills. He is worthy of fear and adequate for granting forgiveness. Surah 75, Surah Al-Qiyamah, Surah titled The Resurrection. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. I swear by the day of resurrection, and I swear by the reproaching soul. Does man think that we will not assemble his bones? Yes, we are able even to proportion his fingertips. But man desires to continue in sin. He asks, when is the day of resurrection? So when vision is dazzled, and the moon darkens, and the sun and the moon are joined, man will say on that day, where is the place of escape? No, there is no refuge. To your master that day is the place of permanence. Man will be informed that day of what he sent ahead and kept back. Rather, man against himself will be a witness, even if he presents his excuses. Move not your tongue with it, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to hasten with it, that is with the recitation of the Qur'an. Surely upon us is its collection in your heart, and to make possible its recitation. So when we have recited it, then follow its recitation. then upon us is its clarification. No, but you, that is mankind, love the immediate, and leave the hereafter. Some faces that day will be radiant, looking at their master, and some faces that day will be contorted, expecting that there will be done to them something backbreaking. No, when it has reached the collarbones, that is when the soul has reached the collarbones, and it is said, who will cure him? And he, that is the dying one, is certain that it is the time of separation. And the leg is wound about the leg. To your master that day will be the procession. And he, that is the disbeliever, had not believed, nor had he prayed, but instead he denied and turned away. And then he went to his people swaggering in pride. Woe to you, and woe, then woe to you, and woe. Does man think that he will be left neglected? Had he not been a sperm from semen emitted? Then he was a clinging clot, and Allah created his form and proportioned him, and made of him two mates, the male and the female. Is not that Creator able to give life to the dead? Surah 76, Surah Al-Insan, Surah titled The Human Being. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Has there not come upon man a period of time when he was not a thing even mentioned? Surely we created man from a sperm drop mixture, that we may try him, and we made him hearing and seeing. Surely we guided him to the way, be he grateful or be he ungrateful. Surely we have prepared for the disbelievers chains and shackles and a blaze. Surely the righteous will drink from a cup of wine whose mixture is of kafur, a spring of which the righteous servants of Allah will drink. They will make it gush forth in force and abundance. There are those who fulfill their vows and fear a day whose evil will be widespread, and they give food in spite of love for it to the needy and the orphan and the captive, saying, we feed you only for the countenance of Allah. We wish not from you reward or gratitude. Surely we fear from our master a day austere and distressful. So Allah will protect them from the evil of that day and give them radiance and happiness, and will reward them for what they patiently endured with a garden in paradise and silk garments. They will be reclining therein on adorned couches. They will not see therein any burning sun or freezing cold. And near above them are its shades, and its fruit to be picked will be lowered in compliance. And there will be circulated among them vessels of silver and cups having been created clear as glass, clear glasses made from silver of which they have determined the measure. And they will be given to drink a cup of wine whose mixture is of ginger, from a fountain within it named Salsabil. There will circulate among them young boys made eternal. When you see them, you would think them as beautiful as scattered pearls. And when you look there, that is in paradise, you will see pleasure and great dominion. Upon them, that is the inhabitants of paradise, will be green garments of fine silk and brocade, and they will be adorned with bracelets of silver, and their master will give them a purifying drink. And it will be said, surely this is for you a reward, and your effort has been appreciated. Surely it is we who have sent down to you, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, the Qur'an progressively. So be patient for the decision of your master, and do not obey from among them a sinner or ungrateful disbeliever. And mention the name of your master in prayer morning and evening. And during the night prostrate to him and exalt him a long part of the night. Surely these disbelievers love the immediate and leave behind them a grave day. We have created them and strengthened their forms, and when we will, we can change their likeness with complete alteration. Surely this is a reminder, so he who wills may take to his master away, and you do not will except that Allah wills. Surely Allah is ever knowing, wise. He admits whom He wills into His mercy, but the wrongdoers He has prepared for them a painful punishment. Surah 77, Surah Al-Mursalat, Surah titled Those Sent Forth. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. By those winds sent forth in gusts, and the winds that blow violently, and by the winds that spread clouds, and those angels who bring criterion, and those angels who deliver a message as justification or warning. Surely what you are promised is to occur. So when the stars are obliterated, and when the heaven is opened, and when the mountains are blown away, and when the messenger's time has come, for what day was it postponed? For the day of judgment. And what can make you know what is the day of judgment? Woe that day to the deniers! Did we not destroy the former people? Then we will follow them with the later ones. Thus do we deal with the criminals. Woe that day to the deniers! Did we not create you from a liquid disdain, and we placed it in a firm lodging for a known extent, and we determined it, and excellent are we to determine. Woe that day to the deniers! Have we not made the earth a container of the living and the dead, and we placed therein lofty, firmly set mountains, and have given you to drink sweet water? Woe that day to the deniers. They will be told, proceed to that which you used to deny. Proceed to a shadow of smoke having 3 columns, but having no cool shade and availing not against the flame. Surely it throws sparks as huge as a fortress, as if they were yellowish black camels. Woe that day to the deniers. This is a day they will not speak, nor will it be permitted for them to make an excuse. Woe that day to the deniers. This is the day of judgment. We will have assembled you and the former people. So if you have a plan, then plan against me. Woe that day to the deniers. Surely the righteous will be among shades and springs, and fruits from whatever they desire, being told, eat and drink in satisfaction for what you used to do. Surely we thus reward the doers of good. Woe that day to the deniers. O disbelievers, eat and enjoy yourself a little. Surely you are criminals. Woe that day to the deniers. And when it is said to them, bow in prayer, they do not bow. Woe that day to the deniers. Then in what statement after it, that is after this Qur'an, will they believe?